Thank you, Mr. Naveen and Ms. Madhavi, for an excellent presentation. As you must have noticed, in the last couple of years, we changed the pattern of Keynote. We just moved out of process and discrete industry and all. We thought bringing pharma or automotive or so. It's been wonderful to have two different presenters, which will give you an insight to the automation team and the enterprise team. Thanks again, Naveen and from AstraZeneca and Madhavi from Birla Carbon, Aditya Birla. Please give a big round of applause. Since we have only two speakers, the panel discussions will not be more than 15 to 20 minutes. So before I let it open to the audience for questions, I have only a couple of questions to ask them. First, I will start with Naveen. We see a lot of bigger enterprise value in AI and make and supply chain over the next 3 years. What do you see the biggest enterprise value from AI in make and supply over the next 3 to 5 years? Naveen?
What is the biggest value?
Yeah.
Oh,
Enterprise value.
Yeah, I think I kind of touched base when I was talking, and I believe even Madhu touched base, right? The biggest value for me is change of our thought process. I think that's the biggest value. We're all changing on how we are using AI and how we are delivering more value for our outcomes. I think for me, that's the biggest value. I know I know when I am in these forums, people talk about productivity, people talk about gains, efficiency. I think those are byproducts. The biggest gain is the way we are thinking, the way we are delivering more with less, and how we can embrace it further.
Thanks, Naveen. I have one question for you, Madhavi. I see a lot of companies are investing heavily in AI. What will truly differentiate leaders from laggards over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's exactly what I alluded to in my pitch is that value gap and the leadership gap. I think what will differentiate companies is when the leaders, when I say leaders, it just doesn't mean the senior leaders. Each one of us is a leader for the job that we do, is when the leaders really rethink and redo the processes in a way that AI enables them to do their job much differently than just a little better than before. So supply chain example was really great, especially in this day and age with the geopolitical situation, constant re-architecting, but with the judgment and authority that comes in along with that AI-driven scenarios is what will differentiate companies in terms of fast execution and really being the first to get there before the competition does.
Thanks, Madhavi. I'll just let it open to the audience. In case there are no questions, I'll continue with my moderation questions. So, good. I have already a couple of hands. Can you please move the mic, AV team? Please be brief in your question. Introduce yourself before the question and also to the speaker whom you are asking the question.
Sure. Okay. Good morning. So I'll be the inaugural questioner. My name is Sunil Shah. I run a company called Modelicon Infotech. My question is to Mr. Naveen. Thank you for a great talk. And I'm glad to see the implementation of AI in AstraZeneca. My question is, how do you benchmark the benefits and what kind of ROI are you talking of in the implementation of AI into your systems? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. See, today morning I was reading this news article, and I kind of woke up to the surprise that there are AI companies like Anthropic who have a drug discovery team. They're not a biopharmaceutical company. Just because they have AI, they are discovering new drugs. And I'm like, all right. So while we are talking about domains, expertise in one domain and things like that, I've got a AI software company who's created a drug discovery. I mean, you can Google it out. That's the news today morning, right? That's very interesting. And we're like, where are we heading towards? Now, where do I benchmark AstraZeneca? I did not read the slide header. But if you really see what is our ambition in AstraZeneca, we want to be pioneers in AI-enabled drug development. I've never seen a pharmaceutical company having an ambition saying we want to be an AI-led power. I mean, I would have thought 2 years back, the ambition could have been like, we want to be pioneers in oncology, we want to be pioneers in cell therapy, kind of thing. But, a pharma CEO coming up with a ambition saying that I want to be a leader in AI to run my business, I think it's changing it's actually a big shift on where we are heading towards. So how do we benchmark? I think not many companies have that kind of ambition in terms of AI-enabled disruption to achieve very challenging ambition.
I am Sheshadri from ABG. My question is to Mr. Naveen Krishna. How do you prevent counterfeiting using AI, especially in supply chain also, where you may import intermediate compounds, especially from abroad and all that?
Oh, brilliant question. That's one of the biggest challenge we have, right? Not only in pharmaceuticals, in most of the industries, counterfeiting. You got something, if you really see what companies use, the big companies use something called ATTP, which is an SAP product for track and trace and serializability, right? Can we use that going forward? No, because the counterfeit is so intelligent. It looks actually more original than original. So how do we use AI in those kind of things today? If again, it is not fully implemented, so that's a disclaimer that I want to start off with, at least in AstraZeneca. Where we are heading towards is how can we have external data? Today we are looking at forming a forum among co-dependent and co-interested cross-industry forums to tackle counterfeit using AI. Are there models already existing? Yes, there are models already existing. Are they proven? They're not proven yet. But the way I look at it is they would be probably proven, like maybe 6 months is way too long for these kind of models to prove, because they can actually read your counterfeit and tell you exactly where it is, which batch, where it is coming from, and things like that. There are two ways of tackling it. One is identifying, the other one is stopping. And I believe we should use AI to stop counterfeit and not really identify. Identifying, my foundation system can do it. My late stage customization systems can do it. And that's the case in every product, right? It could also be a cement manufacturing. It could be Colgate toothpaste. We've got so many things outside. But I think stopping is where AI would really be, will benefit the industry.
Good morning. I'm Jazina Aziz. I manage PCB manufacturing in BHEL. My question is to Madhavi Kanimuri, ma'am. Ma'am, my question is, what leadership behavior will matter the most for your AI adoption to succeed for your group or for your company? Is it the decision architecture that you talked about, or is it something else?
Yeah, great question. I think some of those we already talked about, right? And this, what I'm going to say is in addition to that. One of my favorites is Satya Nadella's leadership strategy around how he kind of, when he stepped in as the CEO, how he kind of changed the culture. Culture is very, very important, is in terms of how do you look at changing mindsets and how do you drive that shift. You can all look this up. I think he went from a know-it-all kind of culture to learn-it-all culture. It follows the growth mindset principles, where in the good old days, we relied on people's experience, we relied on people's knowledge, and we relied on the hierarchical stature that they held in terms of making decisions. And we expected them to know it all, and they probably did from the experience that they had. Today, we are living in a very different era. Things are not so repeatable as they used to be. Things are very dynamic, they change very fast. Building that experience is no longer easy to do. But at the same time, there's this disruption that's happening around us where this kind of thinking is already built in terms of years and years of learning that's been fed in, right? So how do you look at all that and really learn, be open-minded, and then put in the empathetical, judgmental aspects of the human element to make those decisions? So really driving that cultural shift and cultural mindset, in addition to everything we talked about during the presentation, I think is a key leadership trait that I would think is going to be very valuable today and coming tomorrow.
I will take the last two questions. Please go ahead.
My name is Vishnu Sai. I am from Linac, India. My question is to Madhavi ma'am. You mentioned that leadership is all about redesigning thinking. My question is that how can we connect the leadership thinking with the employee thinking? Can AI help in the journey? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. And I think when I said leaders, every employee is a leader in the job that they do. They're the leaders of their everyday life. So when we talk about rethinking and redoing things differently, we're talking about everybody in the organization, and that's the cultural shift that I actually talked about, is every single employee all the way to the front line having that capability to really listen, think, use AI to the benefit of empowering that person to be able to then apply the empathetical, judgmental aspect of the human thinking and really doing things differently is something that you as an individual, you as an employee, you as a leader can take control of today. But also promote those and really vocally talk about how that has helped you in your journey. And the more we talk, the more it spreads, right? So that's the ownership that I would expect people to take on.
Someone from here asked. Someone is there already. Please. Can you take the mic from here? Can you pass on the mic, please?
Hi, good morning. This is Gaurav from ExxonMobil. Firstly, thank you for the presentations. I had a question regarding one of the use cases that you mentioned in your presentation for AstraZeneca regarding the shift reports. It was an interesting example as well, where you mentioned one of the plants, they're saving around 35 minutes per shift. Can you elaborate more on that? What is the exact use case and how are you integrating AI with that particular example?
Sure. See, there's something called changeover for a shift, right? When a shift happens, there are two things, right? For those who are not from pharma background or also manufacturing, which is not really regulated, right? Even in electronics, you still have the same thing. There are two things. One is a line clearance. You need to go through each and every machine, every stage, everything to ensure that the line is very clear before you start a new drug. The other one is when the shift changes, there's something called shift changeover. What we have done is we already had something which is called smart, line clearance. We used Google Voice. Previously, an operator used to take a paper, go tick every mission, and then sign it saying that the line is clear. Instead of that, we given them this headphones, and then Google Voice, just go to the individual station and say line is clear, line is clear, line is clear, and it gets recorded. And that digital record is a validated record for the regulators, so it is usable. That's smart. But then how can you make it intelligent is what we have done. What we have done is we've put in image sensing sensors, which is basically a little above PIR sensors. I told you I come from Siemens, so I can get detail into the sensors and things like that. But you can use image sensing sensors in your robots on the line, and then you can couple that with what happened in the line clearance and then create an AI model which would make the digital changeover super fast. That's how it was enabled. The 35% that I kind of put in there was not an AstraZeneca example, by the way. You can Google it out, you'll know the company. But in AstraZeneca, it's actually beyond 35% today. Does that get answers?
Someone asked the last question. Yes,
Yeah.
Sunil.
Okay, I will take the question. It's for Madhvi ma'am. Thank you for the talk. And I'm glad that you acknowledge co-pilot. In fact, most of us now do that. So my question is a zero-sum game. Now it's become a zero-sum game. If I take specification, it becomes AI-driven. If I make my proposal, it's AI-driven. Almost everything is AI-driven. If one of your guys comes with a presentation, that's also AI-driven. How is your leadership changing? What is your thought process changing when you're looking at the evaluation now? Because the benchmark has changed, and everything is AI-driven. So how do I evaluate two different proposals? What's your thought process there? Thank you.
Yeah, that's another great question, actually. So if everyone has the same access to the same tools and technologies, then what differentiates one person from another person? And your specific question is around evaluating proposals, right? And that's where the human element comes into play, right? You look at the proposals for sure, because that does talk about the commitment level, how each of the proposals differentiates itself from the other proposal and stuff like that. Yes, they've used AI, but I'm hoping that whoever has brought that to my desk has also used the human element, their ability to kind of deliver the commitments that they can hold up to and all that stuff to differentiate themselves from the other proposal that I would have gotten on my table. With all that said, I'm going to leverage the informal sources, right? Whether it's the network, it's the customer, customer accolades that these people would have gotten, the proven methodologies. At the same time, I'm also open to experimentation. So putting the context element into that whole thing in terms of what these proposals are for. Is it for something like an ERP that runs my financials for the company? Or is it something more experimental that I'm trying to do, putting some sensors into a certain equipment in my plants to see what kind of intelligence I can derive out of it? All of these are the ones that will differentiate how one proposal wins over the other one. Is you can't force fit some of these things that are very human element, and that's how leadership gets differentiated, is bringing in that context, drawing in those informal elements, and looking at aspects beyond what an AI could have done for you from a proposal standpoint.
Thank you all. Before I conclude, please give one round of applause for Naveen and Madhavi. Been great presentations. So before I conclude, I just want to make an announcement. We have the session starting after at 11:30 in both the places, in Chancery and Conclave. So please see the agenda, please see the topics of your interest, and then move on. And not only that, we have sponsored booths and open process automation session booths. Please visit them also. Okay, thank you.